Hi, sweet girls. I miss you so much. I am so sorry I missed seeing you last time, and this time I have to miss it again, and I am just so sad. But I asked Miss Manya if I could make a video to share a story with you, and I just want you to know that I miss you terribly badly, and I hope to be with you the next time we all meet. I wanted to tell a story about a person that I met years ago when I was living in China. This lady was a physician's assistant from Australia. That means she was kind of like a doctor, but she was from Australia and she was using her medical skills to serve as a missionary. So remember that. Get practical skills and you can use them anywhere in the world. So one day she decided that she was going to go into this village where all of the people had leprosy in this area of China. So she went into this village and she went into this home and she noticed an old man that was in the fetal position. That means kind of all curled up under a table. And she looked at him, and then something caught her eye on the left side of the wall. And she looked over at the wall and she did something which showed recognition and looked back at the man. And the man noticed her look at the picture and he said, "Do you know that man?" And she said, "Well, of course I know that man. Do you know that man?" And he said, "No, but can you tell me who that man is?" And she's like, "Well, he's on your wall, but sure." So she told the story of Jesus. It was a picture of Jesus in this village, rural village of China. She told the story of Jesus, how this Jesus was the one true God and God loved the world so much, but he saw that our sin, the things we do that are wrong, separate us from God, but that this God loved us so much, so he came to the earth and he died on the cross to take away our sin. But that wasn't the end of the story. He came back to life. Well, as she's telling this story, this man under the table is crying. And after telling the story, she said, "Sir, are you okay?" And he said, "I knew it." He said, "Years ago, I saw that picture on the ground and I had this feeling inside." So he said, "I hung it up on my wall. And for 25 years, every day, I look at this picture and I say, if you are the man who is really God, will you tell me about yourself?" He said, "Every day for 25 years, I've been praying to find out who that man is." And he said, "And today is the day that I found out." He had leprosy all over his body, but he crawled out from under the table and he gave his life to Jesus Christ. After giving his life to Jesus, his wife told this missionary doctor, she said he had been wanting to die. He had no hope. But after he had heard about Jesus, did you know he began to hobble, like to walk carefully to house after house telling the good news of Jesus? Now, can you imagine praying for 25 years every day for someone to explain to you who the man in the picture is who's really Jesus? Well, let's not think that this just happens over in China. I just listened to a testimony the other day of a woman from Kuwait, and she came over to the United States during a time in the, I won't tell you the history of war that caused her to come to the United States as a refugee, but she came here and she had absolute despair. She had no hope at all. And one day, she was someone in her family, I can't remember who, had passed away, and it was someone she loved greatly. And she went to work that day, and a woman immediately came up to her and she hugged her. And this woman was completely covered up in her Muslim garb. And this woman came up to her, not afraid of her, and hugged her tight. And she said, "I am so sorry for your loss. Will you come to church with me?" The Muslim woman said, "Yes." She said, "I had never been in a church in America." She went into a church, and although she was dressed in this black hijab, completely covered, she said person after person went up to her and said, "We are so glad you are here." And she said when she saw the people welcoming her in like they did, she experienced a God who loves. And she then began her journey, and she came to Jesus as well. But did you know she said in her testimony, "I had been in America for 8.5 years before anyone invited me to church." So girls, this is why I'm telling you this story, or these stories, is because I believe God wants to use you to be good news tellers. So you need to learn how to tell the good news. But first you need to make sure you know the good news yourself and that you've received the good news for your own sin and for your own hearts. And we'll talk about that hopefully the next time I'm there. But one verse that I want to leave with you tonight is found in Isaiah, and I read it the other day and I was just reminded, and it says, "How beautiful in the mountains are the feet of those who bring good news, who proclaim peace, who bring good tidings, who proclaim salvation." Girls, this is what your feet can be. Look at your feet right now. God wants you to have beautiful feet, and the way to have beautiful feet is to be a good news teller of Jesus Christ. Let's not make it be where people from Kuwait have to wait 8.5 years in America to hear the good news, and let's continue to find ways to get the gospel to places like China so people don't have to pray to a picture on the wall for the man in the picture to reveal himself, and it take 25 years. Go be good news tellers, and I can't wait to see you again. I love you girls so very much. Good night.